So when we last spoke, I had gone and cut out the battery bay and done some other work for the servos and the motor inlay. And so I've decided to go and do another custom step and make a pocket for our ESC and a OSD. I like to use an RR OSD, so I made room for doing that as well. Last night I used the Dremel, and I want to be able to do this pocket, which is going to be a bigger area, so I don't want to kind of do it freehand. I want to use this guide that comes with the Dremel so that I can set the depth such that I can go inside and route this all out. It comes out really nice. It's another technique, slightly different than what I had shown before. Works pretty good. I've already done a portion of it, but I want to catch some more of it and show you how that's done. Additionally, I did the cutout of the battery bay, and I showed you how I trim this edge so that I can do an inlay of ABS plastic. So I've gone ahead and I've cut the ABS. I just use a really thin, it might be, I don't know, maybe 2 millimeter thick ABS plastic that I buy from McMaster Car. I've already trimmed it to size, and when done, it just pops right into this pocket just like this. And as you can see, it becomes a nice, clean, flush mount. Now, when I do the install, I won't have this in. I'll do the laminate first, then I will fold the laminate in to get a nice clean edge, sand all this, glue all of it, and then I'll drop this and glue it in on top of it. It makes for a nice flush fit, and the laminate will roll in really nice and pretty instead of just being like a, you know, flapping in the wind kind of deal here. So that'll come out real nice. But I have that part set aside. For this pocket, I'm going to do it just like, you know, a lot of builders might do. I just, again, bought some thin 2 millimeter Coroplast that we will put in and just make a nice little hatch to put our ESC in. I've already measured the depth and everything, so just as a test fit, I was able to see how deep I need to have this, and it leaves a good amount of foam still in here so that it doesn't, you know, come through on the bottom, because our motor mount's going to be in this area. I don't want to, you know, intrude into that area if I don't have to. So let me finish cutting out the rest of this. Again, I used the Dremel routing guide along with a routing bit. It's a little grinder bit, and I'll set my speed somewhere not too high. I don't want to tear up the foam. I just want to set it to a point to where I know it's going to grind out really good and take out the foam that I need. Now, before I do that, I need to show you that I've already laid out my pocket, and I did this. It's 2 inches by 6 inches wide. All right. I've gone and taken my hobby knife and gone and cut out into this channel right on my marks to the depth that I need, and I go all the way around. This way I can get a nice clean edge everywhere. When I do the routing, I'll get close to that edge and then just pluck out. Like this is all loose right here. I'll just pluck this out and finish it up so I have a nice clean edge. I don't want a rough edge. And then again, we'll do just like we did on the bottom. We'll make a nice little step so that this pocket will lay flush in here. And I'm wanting to do as much stuff flush. So the VTX when it goes in, the receiver when it goes in, I want all that stuff to be as flush as possible, because we're going to be putting a wrap over top of this. Instead of doing paint, we'll do a wrap over top, and I want to maintain that and keep it as clean as possible. Both top and bottom will be a wrap on top of the laminate. So let me go in and finish cutting out this pocket. And with this, I can use this, just set it on the foam. I already have my depth set, and I just go back and forth till I whittle all this out. Okay, So let's just get the debris out of here. Makes a bit of a mess, but when you see it all done, it's really, really lovely. All right, so now that I have that, I'm just going to pluck out the foam on the edges here. It's going to give me a nice, clean, straight edge. Because I've gotten nice and close to it. And this will just pop out. All right. Now that I've got that part, I'm going to actually take this off and go in by hand and just trim up the edges. Okay, there we go. So, hopefully this can get picked up pretty well. See our nice little pocket? And it's all nice and evenly smooth all the way through there. And so my equipment will be able to drop in this pocket really nice, just like this. And our hatch will go right over top. That should work out really nice. And I got plenty of room. Okay, so we're going to cut out a little step down here so I can drop in our cover. So just going to cut in, trace my line. And I'm trying not to go too deep again, just trying to make a nice clean cut. Okay, then we do our little slice inside. Try not to rip, I'm just trying to make a nice, clean, steady cut. And I'll show you the fit when I'm done. It should fit in there nice and neat. Should be. We're looking to make it a nice flush cut. Got a little glue to cut through there. All right, then this should just pluck right out. Nice and clean. All right, looks pretty good. All right, our cover will fit right in. And this may need to be trimmed a little to make it fit just perfect, but should drop in there nicely. There we go, nice and flush. So this I'll put a hinge in, and when we cut a hinge, I'm usually looking to just go a couple of flutes back, cut on the bottom side, a couple of flutes back. So let's go 3 flutes back, and only cut this one edge, not all the way through it, just this one edge, right between the flutes. And by doing that, I have a hinge. There we go. So this will get glued in, and it'll be able to hinge nice and neat, just like that. We can drop our equipment right inside. All right. So that's done. We're pretty much at this point, we're ready to go and spray on our spray adhesive, and I'll show you that whole process, both top and bottom. That will prep this so that when we go and laminate, we'll get laminate that'll stick really, really good. You won't have to worry about it delaminating later. The adhesive on the laminate and the adhesive that's going to be on the wing are going to bond together really nice once I do that. Okay, we're going to have some fun now. We're going to spray on spray adhesive on the whole thing, and then we're going to squeegee it on to make it nice and smooth, and we're really going to layer it on here, so it's going to be a lot. Don't think that it's going to be kind of crazy, because this is really the process. It really works, really comes out well. The product I use is 3M90. This is the heavy duty. They make a Super 77. It's a light duty. This is the heavy stuff, so it goes on really thick. And we're going to cake it on. And this stuff will be wet at first, but it dries very fast, so we have to move kind of quick. So I'll show you the process. I need to move. I'm going to spray and move across and do this kind of quick, because this will get to be messy very quickly. All right, here we go. So I'm going to put it on like that, and then I'm going to squeegee it in while it's wet, and you'll see it go on just like that. All right. Dry that off. Don't be afraid to put it on too thick. You can kind of almost can't have enough of it. You just want it to go on nice and thick so that when you squeegee it, it fills in all those holes and gaps. That's kind of how you want it. We'll probably end up doing a couple of coats of this also, just to make sure it goes in really nice. And you don't want to squeegee it off. You kind of want to lay the squeegee flat and just pull it across so it fills in all the holes, all those little gaps and everything. All right. Nice and thick. Once I'm done with this, we're going to let it set for a few minutes. It dries up pretty quick, but I want it dry enough that I can flip it over and do the top side without it sticking to everything. I'm going to add a little bit more. Once this is all said and done, I'll probably sand it a little, just a little bit, and then I'll do this process over again and get it all nice and prepped.